This is an all new advanced sleep tracker, snore detector, and wake up light all in one. I was honestly surprised with how much I like this thing. It's the Sleepole AI Lamp, and I've been testing it before launch, and today I'm gonna share all the things that I like about it, some things that I wish were better, and if this smart lamp is actually worth your money. This video is sponsored by Sleepole, and they did review this video, but they did allow me to do a full comparison with the Oura Ring, Whoop, the 8 Sleep, and my Somni EEG smart headbands. So I gotta be 100% honest with the things that I learned and show you some real data comparisons. Now first, what is the Sleepole AI Lamp? Now it's a sleep tracker that you don't actually have to wear or charge. I think that's a huge benefit. You set it, forget it, and it does all this stuff for you. You know, I've been wearing a Whoop, an Oura Ring, an Apple Watch, and many more all at once, and I wear them every single night just so that way I can track all my data and understand how things are different. So I've seen a large data set over a long period of time. Now, what I love about the Sleepole AI Lamp is that I don't have to charge it like I do my Apple Watch. It just sits on my nightstand. There's no contact with my body. There's no skin irritation. And after having run this side by side with all these other devices for the past few nights, I can say the data has surprised me a lot. And it gave me some information that none of these other devices gave me. Like I was sleeping on my side for 4 hours last night. And it all did that without touching me. But how is it able to do that? It tracks your sleep using a 60 gigahertz mmWave radar. It's the same technology used in industrial sensing applications. So it runs at very low power levels that meet the FCC safety standards. Think of it like Wi-Fi, but it's precise enough to be able to see your chest rising and falling to know how fast or slowly you're breathing. There's no camera in your bedroom. We do not want that. There is a microphone on the top of the lamp, and that's detecting noise, snoring, which I thought was super cool. But the audio is all locally processed and never uploaded to the cloud. Nothing touches your skin. Another big fear I've always had is when you buy a product from a new company, they might disappear next year. This company didn't just start as a sleep startup. They're a professional mmWave radar sensor manufacturer with over millions of units shipped before they've even built this. This Kickstarter isn't just a passion project for them. They have radar engineers, RF engineers, an AI team, and they've partnered with hospitals to build a sleep database of over 2,000 clinical PSG nights. PSG stands for polysomnography. I've done a video on that if you ever want to watch it. And that's the actual gold standard of sleep science. And that's what they use to train the algorithm for this bad boy. And if you watched my CES video, you knew that I saw this device there and I thought it was super interesting. They won 3 innovation awards: digital health, accessibility and longevity, and smart home. Cool. Sounds amazing, but how does it work? How is this lamp able to know that you're in REM sleep? Well, here's the breakdown. The 60 gigahertz radar has a detection precision of 0.1 millimeters. That's fine enough to pick up subtle chest movements. So think about like when I'm breathing, that radar is detecting my chest lifting up and down, even the tiny vibrations from my heartbeat. Like if you place your palm on your chest, you can feel your heartbeat. That radar is essentially feeling it from a distance. And then from there, they're using a 100 million parameter AI model that maps those heart rate and breathing patterns to sleep stages: awake, REM, core, and deep, which we'll dive into that data later. Timestamps are down below. Now, it doesn't just stop at radar. There's also a thermal array sensor, which detects your sleep position with the camera. I thought this is cool because I was always been curious, like, do I sleep on my back more often, on my side? And I was surprised that I sleep more on my side sometimes. And it does this without a camera. It reads body heat distribution. So sleeping on your back looks different from sleeping on your side, which looks different from sleeping on your stomach, which I don't do that third one. It also has an acoustic sensor for snoring detection. I thought I snored a lot more, but I guess this device, and in comparison to the 8 Sleep device, I rarely snore, which I'm happy to hear. There's also an ambient light, temperature, and humidity sensors for your room environment. Now this thing tracks a lot. I think people don't realize how important it is to also know your room environment, because light, temperature, humidity can really impact your sleep too. Now, why is all this important? Wearables like these measure your wrist and finger movements, your heart rate. So for example, if I'm lying in bed scrolling, which I definitely don't do, or watching a movie, that might detect it as sleep. Like my Whoop consistently will detect that I slept when I watch a movie in bed. I never do that. Whereas the Sleepole is actually measuring physiological signals directly, my breathing waveform, heart rate, and that's more directly correlated with how clinical sleep studies work. And you're probably worried about privacy. There's no images or video ever recorded. There's a physical switch on the back of the device that you can switch to turn off the microphone and thermal sensor at a circuit level, and you don't have to worry because the raw data is processed on the unit itself and never uploaded. Only the encrypted results go to the cloud. The setup is literally 3 steps. You plug it in, put it on your bedside, and the guide says within about 1 to 2 meters of your head, unobstructed. You do want to make sure that the nightstand you have is pretty height level to your bed, and there is a proper distance to where your mattress is. And then you'll rotate the top of the head to be able to match it to where it lines up with your chest. Finally, you'll do the calibration inside of the app. Make sure you do that. I tried different beds in different locations, and I noticed some nightstands were a little too tall, so I had to swap it out for a shorter one. And sometimes I had the head rotated a little bit too far, and it would guide me to make sure how I can make sure I'm getting the most accurate data. And then once you're done with all that, once the calibration and setup is complete, you'll just go to bed, wake up. Within 15 minutes, a sleep report is generated just for you. There was no wearing the device, there was no charging the device. It just sits there and magically works. And I was like, cool, sleep tracker, I don't have to wear it, that's convenient. But oddly, I found extreme value in the lamp. The lamp has a CRI rating of RA 95+, which means the light is very close to natural daylight. There's an RG0 blue light classification, so it won't suppress your melatonin the most way that LED lamps do at night. I honestly prefer putting it into the red light mode at night. And it has triple layer diffusion, so there's no harsh hot spots. It feels very calming, soft, uniform, and I really like it. And you can have the lamp automatically turn off when you fall asleep. But my favorite modes are it automatically turning on when I enter the room at night, because I don't like turning on all the lights in my room. I just want it to automatically turn on. And then 2, automatically turn on if I wake up in the middle of the night to go use the restroom. I love that feature. And 3, having the light turn on with the morning alarm. How freaking cool is that? But then there are some other cool features. It has a speaker built in, so you can play soundscapes like a bird song, piano, water, fire, and it syncs with the light. You can even have it walk you through breathing exercises.
Inhale, 2, 3, 4.
And the light and volume will adjust in real time based on your sleep state, so it turns off once you've knocked out. That's kind of why I fell in love with it. It feels more than just a sleep tracker device, but a little bedtime ritual device. And in the morning, it's not just an alarm that can wake you up at a specific time, but it has a smart alarm feature. So you can set a, for example, 30-minute window, and it can wake you up within those 30 minutes where you're not in deep sleep. So you're not like waking up all of a sudden and feeling like super exhausted. It's easier to slowly ease into wake. And if you're like, I just want to snooze this, you roll over, it detects the movement with the radar, bam, alarm snooze, no buttons to press. And for the past week, I've been using the Sleepole as well as the Somni EEG headband to measure my brain waves to get my sleep stages, so we can compare all of this data. I'm a marathon runner, doing a big marathon later this fall. Sleep is so critical to recovery, feeling well, hitting my times for harder workouts, and then being able to be productive at work. So making sure I get good data is really important to performing well at these places. Before we dive deep into the data, Sleepole's newly published study on contactless sleep stage detection was co-authored with Professor Dr. Thomas Benzel, an IEEE Fellow, President of the World Sleep Society, and the Scientific Director at Sheraton Berlin. He described the research as showing strong potential for AI-powered contactless sleep monitoring in future sleep and home health applications. I'm not an expert, but he is, so it's valuable to have a statement from him. So if you want to check out the Sleepole app, it has a sleep score, which you can see at the top here. I got a 97 last night. I'm doing so well. We have an efficiency score, 95%, sleep duration, 7 hours, 38 minutes, and my consistency, which is good. I have all my sleep stages right here. I love that I was only awake for 2 minutes. Lots of good REM sleep core, and about an hour 13 of deep. It even gives me a breathing score, so it shows I was supine for 5 hours, on my side for 2.5 hours on this night. And you can see, was there any snoring? No. Look at that, we're having a party. Excellent, no snoring detected. There was like one night where I did have snoring, but I can't find that night. This is the only night where I actually had 1 minute of snoring, and it tells me the loudness. It was 43 to 45 decibels, which is kind of interesting. I love that I can see that information. I guess I don't snore very often, so we don't see that as much. But if you are someone who's curious if you snore, you'll be able to see this information in the app. Then we go down, we got sleep vital signs. It shows me right here, awakening 0 times. It's good, I stayed asleep. My heart rate was between 54 and 66. My breaths per minute were between 16 and 21. And then coming soon is HRV. It's not here yet, but it's coming very soon, so I'm very excited for that. Sleep environment, something people do not think about how important this is. We can see here my temperature was 70 to 71, which is okay. I'd like it to be closer to like 68, but I'm not running an air conditioning. My window's just open. Noise levels, I live in New York City. It can get a little bit loud, but it seems for the most part, my noise level is decent. My humidity, a bit low, so a bit dry, 24 to 27%, average of 25. It would be nice to run a humidifier, but summer's coming around the corner. It's gonna get humid, so I just leave the humidifier in storage. And then light, you want this to be at 0. There's too much light coming in, it's hard to sleep, and that can negatively impact your sleep. So having that information, so important. If we look, looks like humidity is the biggest factor across multiple nights. So it's fairly easy. I can see all the information. If I want to do an auto wind down, here's all the bird songs, the piano, campfire songs. We have breathing exercises 4, 7, 8, and story features are coming soon as well. We have the trends over time. So the past week, let's try the past month. My score has been declining. I need to focus on my sleep better. My consistency is poor. I know that's something I need to work on. Duration, close to 8 hours. I wish I did better on that. Breathing score, not bad. Efficiency is decent, average. I'd like to be better. And the sleep out, I can turn the lamp on and off straight from the app. You can change the brightness levels. I can change the color. You have so many options of all the cool things that you can do. I have motion mode on, absence auto off, and smart light on. I prefer those. I don't want the sleep auto off because I just sleep with all the lights off, and you can already see it's about 500 lux right now. It's still daytime, so it's a bit bright. And my humidity is 15%. The room is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's dive into the data comparison. You can see all the devices that I wore right here. We have the Sleepole AI Lamp, the Oura Ring 4, the Whoop 5 MG. All right, now let's compare all of the sleep data. You can see we have the Sleepole AI Lamp, the Oura Ring, the Whoop, the 8 Sleep, and the Somni EEG headband. I think when you're looking at this, the overall sleep scores, anything that's within 20 to 30%, you can trust. Even I've worn 2 Whoops, and one would say I'm a 60, and the other one will say I'm an 80. Now let's look at total sleep duration. They're all very consistent. It looks like the Whoop had a high sleep duration for some odd reason, but all seem to be very close. Now when we look at deep sleep, the Oura Ring had 2 hours and 4 minutes. The Whoop had 2 hours and 37 at the highest. On the lower end, we had the Somni, which is a brain detection waveband, getting us 1 hour, 27 minutes. Now, when it comes to sleep stages like deep sleep and REM sleep, I tend to trust the red one the most because it's measuring my brain waves. It looks like for deep sleep, the Sleepole was the closest to the Somni. And for REM sleep, it looks like the Oura Ring was the closest and the Sleepole was in second place. But you can see how different the hours and sleep stages are on all these devices. The Somni EEG headband, which measures my brain waves, I would trust the most. That one was the closest to the Sleepole AI lamp. And for REM sleep, it looks like the Oura Ring was first and the Sleepole was second place. But even just looking at these numbers, you can see how different some sleep stages can be on all the trackers. I think this information can be interesting. I would look at the trends over time and not the specific hours and minutes. Now, here's all of the raw data. I think knowing when did I go to bed, they all seem to be around 11 p.m. The Whoop, for some reason, 10 p.m. I think I might have been watching a movie or something. Wake time was around 7, 8 a.m. They're all kind of all over the place because it did take me a bit to get out of bed. Sleep latency, 17 minutes on the Sleepole, 21 minutes on the Oura. The Whoop did not show me that data, and the 8 Sleep gave me 36 minutes. When it came to light and core sleep, most of them were close to 4 hours, maybe 4.5 hours. Awake seems to be all over the place from 0 minutes to 35 in an hour and a half. But the resting heart rate, 54 to 66 was the range, 53, 59, 56 were all very close. HRV, 33, 30, and 34 in the devices that do provide it. It's coming soon on the Sleepole. Respiratory rate, 16 to 17. Okay, that looks good. Snoring, nothing on the Sleepole or the 8 Sleep. And some devices do provide a sleep debt score as well over time, but none of them provide the sleep position. We got 5 hours in supine and 2.5 hours on my side position on the Sleepole lamp. That is so interesting to find out. Sleepole follows a PSG aligned logic here. The awake duration refers only to wake events during the actual sleep period. In other words, the total wake time after sleep onset and before final wake up. That's why Sleepole's awake duration can sometimes look shorter than wearables or some other consumer sleep systems. The pre-sleep and post-sleep awake in bedtime is not ignored. It is mainly reflected in sleep efficiency, rather than being added again into the sleep stage duration totals. The overall trends seem to be similar. I did have 7 nights of sleep with the Sleepole, and it seems like when I have a bad night of sleep, they'll all give me, 60 to 75 range of bad sleep score. When I have a good night of sleep, it's between 80 and 100. So the specific numbers might not match because the algorithms are different, but when it comes to the overall trends of how did I sleep, they're pretty consistent. It does seem to tend that the Sleepole does give a lower deep sleep number score in comparison to the other wearable devices. And that's, once again, look at the trend. The trend is your friend. This could just be how the radar system works differently compared to a PPG on your ring or the mattress, which is using movement. Now, when it comes to awake, there were some interesting discrepancies. The Sleepole only logged 2 minutes of awake, whereas the Oura recorded 24 minutes and the Whoop recorded 1 hour. This is a massive divergence, and the way that the Whoop and the Oura do track awakeness is via accelerometer, which is movement, whereas the Sleepole is using physiological data using the radar sensors. And like I said, the Sleepole has flagged my humidity as being extremely low. Environmental factors. I do already have an air quality monitor. I have a sleep tracker. When you have all these devices now packed into one, it changes the game in terms of being able to modify your space to optimize your sleep for the best performance the next day as much as possible. So what are my overall thoughts? Is this thing actually worth your money? If you're someone who doesn't like charging their smart ring, I have so many friends that have wearables and wear it for a week and then just stop using it. This thing is a great way to track your sleep without having to put any work in. There's no mental overhead, there's no skin irritation, and it's able to get a lot more data that some of these wearables might not. 2, if you're looking for a bedside lamp, you want to be able to have something that can wake you up in the morning, make noises, help you fall asleep at night. And the app currently is in beta. That's what I tested. It's a Kickstarter, but there's more value and more data coming very soon. Now, if you need HRV data to make decisions about your day, this might not be it for you until that data comes out. But if you're someone who cares about tracking your sleep, you've tried certain sleep trackers, you can't wear them at night. Maybe you have an Apple Watch and you don't want to wear that at night because it's charging. The lamp is the next best thing to be able to track your sleep, get good data, and not have to worry about charging something, maintaining something, and always having it working. And if you have skin sensitivities or allergies to silicone or titanium, you might not even be able to wear these devices. So that's where a sleep tracker that doesn't even touch you comes in. Now, final thoughts. I love that it is a touchless sleep tracker. It's a smart AI lamp that can wake me up at night. It keeps my room lit up when I'm walking in. I don't have to turn the lights on and off. That's a big value add. And it gives me data and information that I didn't have on my other trackers. It's available on Kickstarter starting April 14th. If you want to purchase one, that's the best available pricing you'll be able to get. The link is in the description. And lucky for you, I've secured a few number of spots for my audience at VIP early bird pricing. So putting that deposit now locks in that price. And when the campaign goes live on April 14th, that same link will take you to the Kickstarter page. If you have any questions about testing, things you want me to dive deeper into, let me know in the comments down below. I can make some more videos, short form videos, answer them if you like. I'm gonna keep using this because it's just effortless. It's sitting there, and I'm gonna start adding this data into future videos. So subscribe if you're new, and follow me on Instagram at Shervin Shares to see all the future content. Peace.